Brilliant.
Here we are. Hi guys.
Hello everyone.
We'll let everyone tune in. Number of people already in. Fantastic. So we'll just seeing a few connecting to audio. So once everyone's starting to arrive, we've opened up slightly early just to start getting people through. And then once everyone's in, we shall start talking about beer. So yeah, we'll just give it another second or so. If anyone's wanting to know the first beer, we will be starting with the Bundobust beer this evening, the Impromptu Ladder Convention. So just, I know some people like to have the first one we're drinking. I see at least one there already from Rich, started on one, nicely timed, and Tom as well. So perfect, good. It's a good starting beer. So yeah, I think a sensible one for us to begin on. And there, yeah, we're just still connecting to the last couple, I think. So I of course recognize a few faces on here. For those of you who haven't joined us before, my name's James. I'm the export manager at Thornbridge Brewery. I'm joined tonight. We've got Khan with his very lovely background on there. Khan does our social media and marketing coordinator. And we've got a special visit from the pub as well. So Alan and Charlotte are actually out at the City Arms Tap Takeover. We've got 7 casks, 2 keg on. They're on mute at the moment. They're doing lots of waving. It is very loud. It's nice and busy in there. So they're down there and joining us as well to talk a little bit more about some of the beers. And so the way we sort of organize these evenings and work through, we'll talk through every beer that's turned up in the Thornbridge Beer Club box this month, to give you a little more kind of background, a bit of information about them. We will talk about each one. We'll pour them out. We'll show you what they look like. We'll try them ourselves, but please don't feel any pressure to open all of these in one go. They get pretty strong, of course, by the end of the box. So no pressure for that. Take them, drink one, enjoy the rest of the weekend or something, but we just appreciate you joining us. And of course, then knowing a little more about it when you come to enjoy them later on as well. I know full well some of you may well have enjoyed them all already too. So if you did, hopefully they went down very nicely already. So firstly, as I mentioned, we don't want anyone getting thirsty here. So we'll start talking about the Impromptu Ladder Convention. And so this beer here is our collab with Bundobust. And so Alan, who's the field sales manager, he looks after Manchester and the area. And has been doing a lot with Bundobust to get this through and organized it. So, I won't send it his way. I'll let him tell you a little about it. So, Alan, Charlotte, if you want to tune in and tell us about the beer and what we've got going on with Bundobust.
Hi, guys. So, I've been trying to work with Bundobust for a long time. They're a local vegetarian, Indian kind of street food restaurant. They've now got 4 restaurants, 2 in Manchester, 1 in Leeds, and 1 in Liverpool. The beer came around because they don't have the capacity to brew their own cask beers at their brewery, which is now in Manchester, quite new, opened last year. We wanted to do something that would appeal to everyone. So our 4% pale, that's quite juicy. There should be like bits of mango coming through, which goes well with the food that they do. Yeah, there's not really much to say about it. It's a 4% pale.
It's lovely and smashable.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like with a restaurant, you want people that so they can have a couple of pints.
Yeah,
with the food, help wash it down well.
Yeah, it goes nicely with. They have a lot of spicy food as well, so it should be like quite refreshing, quite light on the palate. So it works perfectly there because it lifts a lot of the heavier flavors and spices off your palate. But it's also perfect to just have a drink anytime you like. Really, just sink a few cans.
Yeah, very sessionable.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we began with it in cask, of course. Came through in cask, and the demand led to it being in can, which is always a sign of a great success. From that. And so hopefully people are enjoying that beer here. Alan and Charlotte sort of summed it up perfectly, really. Smashable, certainly one way of putting it, and it really is so drinkable. It's fresh, it's fruity, it's light, and hopefully, yeah, of course, works well in pairing with a lot of their nice food there as well. And how did the name come about, Alan?
So we really struggled with the name. It was really hard. We went back and forth over all sorts, and then Bundobust have someone really good working out their social media, Dave Baylor, and he did a tweet for the socials for the restaurant while he was at the brewery for the brew day, and there was a lot of ladders in the picture for throwing hops in and malt and whatever else. And he just put Impromptu ladder convention at Thornbridge Brewery, and like it stemmed from that.
Yeah, I was wondering who to blame, because the amount of times the people I'm talking to all day talking about impromptu ladder convention, and even now it's not a word I said all that often, so I trip over it a bit.
I kind of take the blame for that. I seen it and was like, well, what about that? And we just kind of went with from there. So sorry.
Oh, well, thanks for the apology, Alan. I do appreciate that.
You think it's hard to say? Imagine typing it several times a day. It's just impromptu.
Copy and paste.
Like, just spell it wrong every time.
Yeah, it's a nice bit of spell check at least helps out on that.
Yeah.
One. I didn't really know how to spell it that well before we did the beer. And so
we're teaching people.
Alan, are we doing a few more things coming up with them? I've seen, of course, we've been doing our mile.
Yeah, so like I say, they don't really have the capacity to brew cask beer at their place. It's a very small brew kit in the restaurant, which is great to go and see if you get the chance on Oxford Road in Manchester. So we'll be doing a few more seasonal cask beers for them coming up. I can't really give them away because I'm sure they'll want to post it all on socials. But it's typical of Thornbridge cask beer. It's everything we've been doing for years and have really mastered. So expect some more great cask beers to come through from them.
Perfect. I mean, I'll be honest, my Twitter feed is full of people talking about the Dark Mild. It's fantastic to see the excitement back for it. So, yeah, it's great. It's good to be doing it. I love Bundobust. It's always any time I'm pleased or Manchester, straight there. So doing a collab with them is fantastic. Just for an excuse to go back to Bundobust and eat some more food as well.
It's one of the reasons I got involved.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we did that before we started this, if we're honest.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, good. Well, yeah, thank you for that. And then, yeah, I mean, so it's like you say, a great collaboration we put together there. Hopefully, as you say, we're nice, busy tap take over there, so hopefully everyone can hear okay from that. But great to have Alan on telling us a little bit, sort of behind the scenes, really. A lot of these collaborations come about with friends or breweries we know already and we respect, but especially when it's added in with us having a general love for all of the food that they produce, it feels like a perfect match. So as they say, keep an eye out for some more different beers coming through, and we will be working with them for a little while as well, but certainly a good starter with that nice hazy pale ale as well. And from there, so we'll tell you a little more about the next beer. So we've not got any other brewers with us, unfortunately, this evening, as the way it's worked with the collabs, but that's why we've got Alan and Charlotte here from the pub talking about the beers we're doing. But this one was originally a collaboration beer. So this is Twin Peaks that we're on to now. So some of you may have had Twin Peaks before. It's a beer that we've done a few times over the years. Originally with the guys from Sierra Nevada, which was absolutely fantastic, being able to brew with them. And they came over to the brewery to create it with us. And actually it was done, we were sort of talking about British beer styles and how well they work, for the sessionability and the flavor that they can bring in. And while sitting around drinking with the guys from Sierra Nevada, Wild Swan was actually the kind of inspiration. So Wild Swan's at 3.5% white gold pale ale. We've had it, a few months ago as well. And, really drinking that. And these guys are like, wow, this is amazing. There's all this big flavor, but there's no hangover. It's fantastic. This is what I want. And so we sort of took it on from there, taking some of that hop bill that we had in the Wild Swan originally with its American hops, and creating, really this fantastic, well-rounded beer was the aim for it. Something that gave you this big oomph of flavor. There's almost this kind of lemony, sherbety character. It's this nice, fizzy, light. Really, for me, it's a very refreshing beer. And then and the way we've done it, we call it an Anglo-American pale ale, and really it's that mix, of course, of big American hops. So we're using some of the classic American kind of older school, like West Coast hops that give you that lemony grapefruit. There's a bit of citra in there just for that extra oomph as well. And we thought it came together really well on this nice, fantastic English malt base. So there's a little bit of a mix of malts in here, mainly Maris Otter, but it works, we hope, to keep that balance. And really the full aim for it is just pure drinkability. So another nice, easy one to beginners with. For those who've poured it out already, you'll see the difference, of course, straight away to the Bundobust collab, which is much easier than saying Impromptu ladder convention over again. And so this, the body there, you've got that great white head, nice carbonation, but a good clarity too. So for me, works really well, beautifully refreshing. And the name, of course, you know, I watched Twin Peaks, all the seasons as well. Got a bit confused by the end of the last season, I'll be quite honest. The whole episode in the black and white with the nuclear explosion lost me completely. However, a great series overall. And so Twin Peaks was actually because Sierra Nevada is in the big Nevada mountain range, and we're in the Peak District. So we thought there's a perfect name together for it. Carl McLaughlin did give us a like on Twitter, which was a fantastic highlight when we put it out there as well. So came with a nice bonus too. But yeah, so this one, like I say, nice, well-rounded, takes as well into the next ones. And actually, so McConnell's we'll talk about. And now Charlotte and Alan in the pub there have actually got McConnell's on cask as well. So just popping off to get some, I believe, because we wanted to talk about the difference between the two as well. Are you on there, Charlotte?
Yep, Alan's just off to go and get us some super fresh past McConnell's as we speak.
Perfect. How's the, are you able to show us a little bit of the pub there, Charlotte?
Yeah, of
Talk
course.
us through the tap takeover?
The lighting is not ideal, so apologies for that, but we're at the City Arms, which is one of the most beautiful old pubs in Manchester. So I'll go over to the bar and have a little look. So we've got Alan over here now. At the moment, we've got 7 Thornbridge on cask and 2 on keg as well. So it's a really great lineup for us. But it's just like a really brilliant, lovely boozer. It's right in the city centre, but it's full of character. It sort of feels like a lovely local pub, but just behind St Peter's Square, which is one of the sort of busiest bits in Manchester. A good transport hub as well with the trams. So it's like a little gem really hidden away.
Perfect. I mean, yeah, we went there for the staff do, and it was great. It was my first time there. Certainly won't be the last. I enjoyed popping in. So a nice place to have us on and have our beers pouring as well. So I'll tell you while Alan's just grabbing the cask one, and I know you were wanting to talk about a bit of the comparison with it as well, because this did begin as a beer in cask. So McConnell's, a bit more of a kind of Thornbridge historic name. When it was sold a number, years and years ago, it was sold by the son-in-law of the current owner at the time, whose surname was McConnell. So we thought, while looking back through the history, it was a nice name. It was something we wanted to do with our vanilla stout. And so we thought, perfect. So we got this one. We're going a little bit darker here, of course, which is great. We want to keep a nice variety, not just have all pale beers each time. And for those of you dark beer fans, especially some of you may well be sat at home with this horrendous weather at the moment too. So a nice dark beer sitting maybe by the fire or in a warm spot somewhere, and you can really enjoy something like this. We add in a little bit of, there's the vanilla extract in there as well to give you that nice oomph. And really it's just an extra for the flavor. So we want to start out, there's a roasted barley coming in. So you're going to bring in that nice light roastiness, not too heavy, but it'll give you a little bit. You start to get that kind of coffee, that nice dark bitter chocolate coming in as well. And then from there, that vanilla just gives it that little extra. The creaminess we talk about, it's just got that nice rounded mouthfeel to it. And again, here, it just holds its head really well. It looks so inviting, I always think, with dark beers like this one, when you get that great kind of tan head on the top, that really pitch black, you hold it up and it's almost a deep red in color. And for me, it was a real favorite on cask. And while we were looking for beers, we wanted to make the jump from cask to can. We thought this would be perfect as well. So did you manage to grab one there, Charlotte? How are you getting on for cask?
Yeah, we've got both. So we poured a bit of the can out into this one, and then we've got a lovely little half pint cask here as well.
Very jealous.
It's quite interesting them trying them side by side as well. So I think like the can obviously seems a little bit more spritzy and a bit lighter. I think it really elevates the sort of vanilla notes coming through, whereas the cask next to it, it's a lot smoother. You get a lot more of that coffee coming through. Yeah, the head's really beautiful on it. It's really retaining that head as well. So it's really lovely to look at, to be honest. But yeah, both fantastic. There is quite a lot of difference between them, but it's worked really well on both formats, I'd say.
Good. Yeah, I am a bit jealous watching you drinking cask in there at the moment, actually, because like
we're having a lovely time.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, James.
It does. It looks like it.
This is work.
Perfect. Good. Nice one. Well, thank you for that, and hopefully people are enjoying it. As I say, I know people are on here from all over, so we'll keep an eye out for other events coming up. In the meantime, we've just knocked in a few for Sheffield Beer Week. So keep an eye out for us coming up there as well. And of course, I'd be remiss if didn't mention the big one for us. So Peakender, hopefully we'll see a few faces there. I'll talk through, but I'll just check Dom or Rebs. I know we've got you on there. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the launch Peakender today?
I can, yes. So we've put tickets on sale today. And we are trying to plan something in for Beer Club members. Whether it'll be a discount on tickets, we're not sure quite yet, but there will be some sort of Beer Club perk in relation to Peakender. So we'll be aiming to get a mail out next week with more info on that, because I know obviously there's been a few questions about discounts and whatnot. But yeah, it's going to be really good. Going to be bigger and better than ever. I think we've invited some of the breweries today, so the brewery lineup will be released in the next couple of weeks, and we've got more breweries than we ever have had before, I think. So yeah, public transport is not great, Tina, can't lie, but we're working on that as well. So we're sort of working on lots of different things to try and make sure that we can get as many people there as possible. So we're looking into local bus companies for shuttle buses to and from sort of local train stations and stuff, because there's no train station in Bakewell and the local bus doesn't run too late. So Charlotte and I are beavering away to try and make sure that we can get people there, whether it's for the day or for the weekend, just so we can have people on site. But yeah, it's going to be really good. We've sold quite a few tickets already from the last couple of years. There's quite a few people who've rolled their tickets over, so I know that we're quite low on like living vehicle spots, and we've only got a limited number of camping pitches as well. And then we're also looking at glamping as well, if you don't fancy slumming it too much. So again, more news to follow on that, but we've just had so many requests to find out what the dates are and get tickets on sale. We wanted to kind of crack on as quickly as possible. So there's a lot of info to come, but hopefully it'll all be good news.
Cheers, Rebs. Yeah, I mean, very excited. And as Rebs has said, you know, the whole team marketing has really just been non-stop already, making sure that we can be up and running for 2022. I've been lucky enough to be at Thornbridge since the beginning of Peakenders, and you know, its evolution over the years when it began. I'm sure some of you may have popped up and seen us at maybe even when we were at Thornbridge Outdoors across the road from the hall. And hopefully you'll come and see us if you get the opportunity in Bakewell proper as well, where we've been now the last few years. But it really is an absolutely amazing weekend. It will rain, I guarantee it. There'll be lots of mud and fun, but there'll be an awful lot more beer there than mud and rain, so don't worry too much. But yeah, thank you, Rebs. It's good again, like I say, seeing you guys working just flat out on it. I know it's going to be fantastic at the end. And so from here, I'll talk you through. Actually, I sort of almost say we've not really got too many collabs in that sense, unfortunately, with people not joining us. But as of course, each month we'll always try and get as many in as we can. But this beer now, this one. So we started then brewing this with Firestone Walker. I know most of you will have tried this before. I'm very pleased that it's come back, as I'm a real fan of this one, fairly limited at the moment. So I was in Bakewell today, completely forgot to buy a case. I'm very annoyed about it. So on Monday, I'm going to be going back in and making sure I get some for the fridge at home as well. But Pondera was brewed with Firestone Walker, fantastic brewery out of the US. You may remember we did actually do barrel aged beers with them as well. And we really like to experiment, of course. And these guys really are on the same wavelength with us. So we thought, okay, perfect. We're putting together a big West Coast IPA. We'll actually add, traditionally you'd have, I mentioned it with Twin Peaks, those kind of classic American sort of sea hops, you know, the Chinook, the Centennial, that sort of thing. But this one, we've had a bit of mosaic in as well. And similar to the Twin Peaks, it just helps give that extra lift, that nice kick of flavor, that sort of mangoey goodness in there as well. As you'd expect, it's got a fantastic clarity, a nice clear West Coast IPA. And it's a bit dangerous for me because it is 6.7, but I do really love this beer. It's got that little slightly darker malt base in there as well than compared to Jaipur, a little bit of extra caramel in there too. And then on top of that, I mean, the name for this one, Pondera, means balance. It's actually, if you've ever been to the Colmore in Birmingham, the word is written across the top, and we thought balance, perfect, something that we really strive for within the style of a West Coast IPA if you've tried our other ones, and we felt like it suited it nicely too. So you can see on the front as well, if you were curious, that's from the Firestone Walker logos on there as well. So it looks quite different. It's got a nice look to it before we started doing our kind of half and half collabs. But hopefully for those who hadn't had it, it's a great chance to try it for the first time. And for those like me who are excited for it to come back, please do make sure you take the chance to have it as well while it's in there if you enjoyed them from the boxes too. I'll be getting a case or so myself after. How are we doing on questions, Khan? Have we had anything coming through at all in the while we've been going?
We've had a few questions, but most of them are related to Peakender. And I feel there are people on this chat who are far more equipped than me to answer most of these questions here.
I can see Rebs just going back actually to a couple there. Thank you, Rebs, in the chat. So perfect. We'll if you've got any questions for it at the moment, as Rebs mentioned earlier there, we might not be able to answer all of them instantly. We'll be coming out with more details, but we just wanted to let people know it's on. But shoot any questions in there. Then there is the Peakender email. If you go to the website, you can find the email address, drop us over a line as well, and we'll come back to you on that too. So if you have another beer or so after this and suddenly think of a question you wish you'd asked, we're always contactable. So please get in touch with us as well there. And so then, Khan, looking ahead a little bit, did you want to tell us a little bit about March and the next Thornbridge Beer Club box we got coming up?
Yeah, so we are currently drinking a collab West Coast IPA, and so I'll start by talking about the two collab West Coast IPAs, which are in next month's box. Both of them are named after birds. So we've got Pigeon Fancier, which is a collaboration with Big Smoke, a brewery down south, and Thorny Eagle, collab with Brew York, which is predictably up in York. They're both big West Coast IPAs, very much like our the thing we do better than anyone else, but they're two very, very distinct ones. Pigeon Fancier is just 6% and uses a darker, more complex malt bill with Amarillo and Idaho 7 hops. So it's quite, I reckon, quite modern tasting, a little quite complex, maltily complex for an West Coast IPA. And Thorny Eagle is influenced by their Big Eagle, the flagship up in Brew York, and that uses an extra pale malt balance and a more sea hop lineup there. The other ones that we're doing, we've got a seasonal stout, an American dry stout called Bronx, which is the perfect thing for the month of St. Patrick's Day. That's a 7.4%, very dark, very roasty, very dry, classic stout, which I personally am incredibly looking forward to. And then we continue two of the series which really got underway this year. So we've got Quiet Storm Sabro. So that's our single hopped pale ale series. All of them are 5%, 5.5%. All of them use the same malt grist, but they use a different single hop each time. Usually we're trying to showcase lesser known or more exciting, more experimental hops. So this time we've gone for Sabro, which is quite a controversial hop as hops go. It's one of those love it or you hate it ones. We love it. And it's got a really interesting, controversial coconut element to it, which I'm looking forward to as well. But the best thing about this box, most of you will probably agree when I tell you it, is Necessary Evil Rum, which is our flagship 13% Imperial Stout, aged in Caribbean rum barrels, taking on all those spicy vanilla, cane sugar elements from the rum barrels. And I've tried it, and it is brilliant. I think it's the best one of the three that I've tasted so far. It's even better than the cognac one, and that's the last one there. There's going to be many more versions of Necessary Evil coming, but this one's the most recent, and it's good. So lots to look forward to in March.
Cheers, Callum. Yeah, as you say, very exciting box overall, and especially that Necessary Evil series. It's a big promise saying it's better than the other ones so far, because they've all been, fantastic. But definitely, as we say, we always try and keep that variety within the boxes. So yeah, hopefully you'll be joining us for next month's takeover as well. And we'll be working to get some other breweries in, to do some collabs and things there as well. I just saw that Dom told me he had bought most of the rest of the Pondera, so I'm pretty unhappy about that, Dom. Maybe I'll be going in tomorrow instead of Monday just to make sure, or at least making a call and put one aside for me somewhere there. And then
too little, too late, James.
Are you in? Dom? Well, I'll just have to enjoy this one an awful lot while I'm drinking it now.
No, just kidding. There's plenty to go around, but yeah, no, personally, I think it's the best beer we've brewed since I joined Thornbridge 2.5 years ago. So I'm largely responsible for it coming back. I say largely, entirely responsible for it coming back. So yeah, I've got a few cases squirreled away.
Good. Well, good to hear. So, but yeah, thank you for bringing it back then, because it's nice to have it back in the range as well. I saw a question about American breweries. I mean, to be honest, if you went bucket list, really you're looking at Sierra Nevada, Brooklyn, Firestone Walker, straight off the bat. Breweries we've done some fantastic beers with. I mean, there's so many amazing US breweries out there, but yeah, certainly for a bit of a beer geek, I spent a year working in the US in a craft beer bar. And if you told me we'd be doing collabs just with those three straight away, I'd be over the moon. So I think we're doing pretty well so far. But yeah, there's like I said, there's so much good beer out there. We'll see what else is on the horizon as well. And then I saw there was that another question there? Oh yeah, about Pondera. I think Dom's just gone back as well. But yes, it's named after the sign in the Colmore. So if you've had the chance to pop into the Colmore, it actually won a camera award for being, its fantastic renovation that was done there, stripping it back and really getting back to the roots of the pub itself. And it does look phenomenal in there. So if you head in, you'll be able to see it written across the top there as well, and possibly even enjoy a pint or at least a can of it at the same time too. And then from there, I'll check in again. Charlotte, Alan, how are you getting on there? Is it still going strong?
Yeah, still getting pretty boozer.
We got some pints lined up.
Lord Marbles on the side.
Nice. Very good. And it sounds nice and busy there. Have you got anything? I've mentioned Sheffield Beer Week, Charlotte. We've talked Peakender. Was there any other events you've got coming up that are going to be sort of fun takeovers? People can come and join us out like this one?
Yes, so at the tap at number 76 in Ashby de la Zouche, we've got a tap takeover on there. So it's 4 cask and 5 keg beers. And they've also got street food on Saturday, the 5th of March. So the whole tap takeover spans from the 4th of March to the Sunday, the 6th of March. But if you go on the Saturday as well, there'll be a bit of food on. So we're really looking forward to that one, getting some beers down there. So sort of Midlandsy. If you're around that way, then you want to head along there. And then for Sheffield Beer Week, we've got some really cool, fun tap takeovers on in some of our pubs in Sheffield. So at the Greystones, we've got a big smoke tap takeover. At the Stag's Head, we've got Duration up, and there are going to be some food pairings there as well. So You can get a meal with a suggested beer if you want to. Then we've got at the Bath Arms and the Croft sides, we've got Mallinson's on cask, because we're really big fans of their beer on cask. Absolutely smashing, always flies out, so it's always super fresh. So definitely recommend getting a pint of that. We've also got a tapas and beer pairing event on at the Eagle in Sheffield, and that is on Thursday the 10th of March. So if you head over to their socials, you can get tickets to that. James has done all the beer pairings, so I can assure you they're fantastic, because I've seen them myself and I was like, yep, excellent, he's absolutely smashed this. So a lot going on in Sheffield for Sheffield Beer Week. And then we're going to have quite a few festivals that we're working on at the moment that we're going to be heading to sort of around the country in summer, but we've just got to confirm those before we release the details.
Thanks, and thanks for the kind words there. It's yeah, the one at the Eagle, it'll be good fun as well, and it's only 5 minutes from my house, so even better. Good excuse to go in and then not feel you know, I'm getting a bit jealous here, but I'll certainly be having some pints of that one, so should be good. And then talking of, so from there we'll move on to talking a little bit more about Double Green Mountain as well. So this one here, if you've had this one again before, this one was purely just demand. People did keep asking us for Double Green Mountain to come back. We were loving it the first time round. It was a fantastic beer to do. Green Mountain, of course, is one of our absolute favorites. So we've been brewing Green Mountain for a number of years as our kind of core hazy session IPA. Does really well right through the on-trade. You know, we do a lot of kegs of this one, and then out into cans, of course, as well. And the chance to really amp it up and to do it double was, you know, why not? Of course, it's a great opportunity. We love the way it tastes normally. So the brewers kind of went at it thinking similar to how we do like DDH Jaipur. They wanted to add that extra oomph to it, but to make sure that it was really Double Green Mountain. It still comes across, and for me, a bit dangerous that it does so, because it's, you know, 8.6%, but it does pack that flavor. It's that unmistakable aroma that you get from Double Green Mountain, from regular Green Mountain, really coming through. It is smooth. It's got that classic kind of, you know, that pillowy, soft note you'd expect, but with just enough bite at the end to be able to pull it through. So even at 8.6% for me, it's not cloying. It drinks fantastically. And really, you know, I'm swirling it around here. You can see that beautiful haze on it. And I'm swirling it around and I can already start to get the aroma coming through from this one. So it was a fantastic beer the first time. And yeah, one we really wanted to bring back again, just for the excitement on there and showcase really a range of our styles. You know, even this evening, we're drinking light hazy pales and dark beers. We're drinking collabs with American breweries and our own big, really impressive looking, effectively double IPA styles too. So a nice one for us to bring back. I mean, if there's any beers, we always say, you know, when we're talking, we want to try and keep it as open as possible and keep the dialogue with everyone. I appreciate everyone coming in and talking in the chat there as well. And, you know, any beers that you really enjoyed and you want to see come back, please, you know, drop us an email. Just get in touch with us on social medias. It is how we end up with them. If lots of people tweet us and say, we love Double Green Mountain, we're thinking, oh, let's bring Double Green Mountain back. So that's how we end up with doing these ones. So it really does, it is noticed if you do keep saying it. So if you have a beer that you really want, just let us know. No promises, of course, but we'll always try when we get lots of demand for them to fit them into the schedule looking ahead as well. And so we've ended up with a couple in that format. If you tell us all about cask beers that you've really loved, similar we saw with McConnell's, it was one that went out every time. So we brew it at Mill Race, which is the smaller cask brewery. If you come and see, you know, do the experiences or what have you at the brewery, you'll see them brewing it there. So we're brewing it on a smaller cask scale. And then people just kept asking for it in cask, wanting it to come back. So now it's in can. So please do let us know any feedback you have for that. And as always, any other feedback you have for Thornbridge Beer Club and for the beers you've tried this month as well too. And really that sort of brings us through all these beers here. Have we got any questions, Khan, as we kind of get round through finishing all the beers?
Well, you opened something of a can of worms by asking everyone to tell you what beers they want back.
Perfect.
There are stacks of them. People are talking about I Love You, Will You Marry Me? A new version of Mother's Ruin, which is quite a big ask. I think, considering how much work went into the original. Grumpy's Brewery Tap has mentioned Coritania, I think 3 times in the chat already, which there's a lot of enthusiasm there. So that's great. As whenever we ask, somebody asks for Florida Vice. That's been mentioned, and people are talking about Wild Raven, which, if you look at our cask year of beer, which was announced, that is coming back on cask in November, which is my birthday month. So I am thrilled about that, because Wild Raven is one of my favorite Thornbridge beers. So that's brilliant. I also want to shout out to Tina Ambery, who has commented below and also is here, because she was this month's winner of a case of Jaipur. So as some of you might know, we do take a name out of a hat every month, and a beer club member wins a case of Jaipur, which this month was Tina, and she seems to have enjoyed it and share. Did you share it with some people as well? Which is good, because if you convert people over to the Jaipur side, then that is definitely what we like to see. There's plenty of questions as well. People asked about whether or not we're doing any collabs with Southern breweries. We collab with pretty much anyone, anywhere really. If you remember, I Do Not Seek, I Find, quite recently, that's from a new Bristol brewery, Newtown Park Brewing Co. But the Pigeon Fancier next month is Big Smoke, is just outside London in Twickenham. So we collab with everyone. So Southern, Northern, Scottish, yes, you name it, we'll do it.
Yeah, definitely. Some great, as you say, lots of good excitement there for the different beers. I'm excited for Raven back in cask particularly. And actually, there's one question there about one for Charlotte, I think. Are we going to be at the Liverpool Craft Beer Expo again this year, Charlotte?
Yes, we have confirmed that we will be attending. We don't know which beers we're taking yet, but we will definitely be there pouring lots.
Fantastic. Well, I hope that answers the question. That is a great festival. It's always like one of the friendliest crowds of any festival you go to. And, you know, I enjoy everyone just goes in, just drinks lots and just has a great time. It's fantastic. So that'll be a fun one. I'm glad we're going back there as well. And then, yeah, so some other questions there as well, but other beers coming through too. So we certainly will, as always, please keep an eye out and please just keep in touch with us about those ones as well. But I think that sort of brings us through all the beers and everything as well for the rest of this evening. So we're slightly shorter than maybe last month just because we didn't have the collab in, but we'll definitely be getting more people back, and hopefully we'll have more events and other things where we're able to talk to people out in the pub too. So yeah, thank you, Charlotte and Alan, for joining us from there. Much appreciated. And overall, just thanks again. You know, I do recognize lots of familiar faces. It's always great to tune in with everyone over, you know, each month when we do these. So thank you very much for keeping with us, keeping with Beer Club, with joining us. Hopefully we'll see some of you at Peakender as well. That news will still be coming out. And as Rebs mentioned, we'll be looking ahead a little bit to what we can do with Beer Club members as part of Peakender. And of course, we'll be keeping everyone involved as we do that as well. So yeah, so thank you again, and thank you, Khan, for helping us out there, for Rebs and Dom for talking through too. And otherwise, I hope everyone enjoys their evening. Grumpy's Brewery Taps off to book his Peakender tickets there now. So thank you very much. We didn't pay you in beer to say that. We appreciate that you're coming along. But otherwise, yeah, thank you all very much, guys, for joining us. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your Beer Club boxes, and we'll see you next month as well. So good night, and thank you very much.